Welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of the LHGPL semifinals. Omega Gaming Syndicate versus Baby Pengies. Baby Pengies taking Game 1 that we just watched, now getting into draft for Game 2. I'm Gordo, once again, joined by Samalcrum. Samalcrum, what adaptations are we expecting here?
That's really hard to say, Gordo, because I didn't feel like it was an issue in draft for either side. I think that Syndicate made a pretty egregious error with that mid lane engage, which just blew the game wide open. And from that mistake, they continued to make mistakes, and they just lost the game off that. And very decisive play from Pengies resulted in a sub 30-minute win. And
Yeah,
so,
and the salty run back not going to be happening. Omega Gaming adjusting their last ban this game versus what we saw in Game 1. Going to be the same three coming out for the Baby Pengies, but Omega Gaming swapping out that Ashe for the Thresh, which was very effective against them in Game 1, I've got to say. Kanina able to land a lot of those death sentences, pick up a lot of kills.
yeah, and they opt for the first pick. Volibear did a lot of good work for Pengies. And okay, we're gonna see the run back Gragas. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with him bringing back the Gragas. I think Fallen played the pick very well, and as I mentioned, no single pick was an issue. I think in the first game, I think it was just macro and decision making, which were the issues. Okay, we see Pantheon. I think that's Pantheon support. I'm just gonna guess right now. Pantheon support. We don't really see.
I am tempted to agree with you here, as once again that Volibear's been locked in. We saw it in jungle last game, but still going to be a flex pick. Additionally, going to be the Gragas once again.
Yeah, and so neither comp really committing to anything yet. The Volibear, like we saw it paired with the Sivir, which is not a very aggressive ADC. It plays back, it kites out, it uses the on the hunt to reposition. But we can see a heavy dive comp come in. We could see Samira right here. We could see B3 Samira. They have the volley Alistar to facilitate. That's a lot of CC, so Samira can work her passive in. Or
Could
Kaisa.
also see the Ashe, which was banned out against them in Game 1 by the side
True.
of Omega Gaming. Is certainly something they were looking out for already.
Yeah, but we'll see what they choose. They go for.
Good, it's going to be the pick away of the Diana. They're going to be taking it for their side this game. It looks like this is a contested mid lane pick now.
Mm-hmm. 2 for 2 on the B3 Diana. So, are we gonna get 2 for 2 on the R3 Renekton? I doubt it.
Yeah, I will still say Diana is technically capable of jungling still. It is technically a flex pick, but nobody picks it that way. So very likely that we're going to be seeing that Diana taken over for Saruman this game.
Malzahar being
Are we
hovered.
going to see this Malzahar? Is this real? Is this real life? It is. It's going to be the Malzahar pick. That is a classic Diana counter. You know, you can't get engaged on if you can just hold somebody down and vomit on them for a while.
Yes, will present the Malzahar might be in trouble if the Volibear and Alistar are allowed to get in, which those champs are capable of getting in. They can engage quite hard, and then Diana can easily follow up. And right now, there's not a ton of peel. You have the Gragas to disengage, but Pantheon's very, very linear. The stun is single target, very telegraphed, reasonably long cooldown. So he's stopping one member, but you don't want to stun Volibear because his Thundering Smash gets reset, and well, Alistar has a lot of ways to engage.
Yeah, certainly here. And now we're going to see both of last game's top laners going to be banned out by each side. So we are going to see some variance up in that lane at minimum, as well as this interesting swap up in the mid lane as one of what has been thus far, at least in the season so far, one of Intexie's more focused champions, has now been picked away and is going to be in the hands of Saruman. And now a newer pick, the Malzahar, going to be making its way out here as the Ashe once again going to be banned along with the Mordekaiser. Let's see what Baby Pengies wants to keep off the board.
Yeah, and right now Syndicate's comp feels a little wonky because you have the Gragas Pantheon, which excel at engaging. They can go in very, very hard. Malzahar, very immobile, not a lot of range, so he can't follow the Grand Starfall. He can't follow the Flash Body Slam very easily. And so I like the modal pick of the Ezreal, not committing one way or the other. And I did expect ADC on R4. You want to
Yeah,
get
I
counter.
certainly like the Ezreal here. Can peel for itself against stuff like this Volibear and this Diana. Is a good matchup in general against the Volibear.
and the very, very quick lock-ins of the Vayne Camille. So hyperscaling ADC and a hyperscaling top laner. Renekton's open, but
Yeah,
I don't know if Syndicate are going to want the Renekton here. It's not going to scale well against.
they have a lot of options here. The Karma was banned here last game, where they actually decided to take away the Kled this time. That Karma banned away potentially as either a support or a
Jax?
flex up to the top lane. So could also be the
Ooh.
Jax, could be the Poppy, and it is going to be the Poppy who is capable of what's the W called? I always forget what the
Steadfast
W
presence.
is called. Steadfast presence is able to steadfast presence every member of the Baby Pengies.
Yeah, so
Definitely going to be valuable here, especially against picks like Diana and Vayne.
yeah, the thing is, the one concern I have with Blood King locking in the Poppy is that there is a lot of CC and engage tools that he has to stop, and Steadfast Presence is a significant cooldown. It's a 20 plus second cooldown if you're not maxing it or putting points into it, and so, and with the way Blood King plays, he plays aggressive, he plays in the face of his opposition. I could very well see him choosing to max the slam second, which means that's a 25-second plus cooldown on the Steadfast Presence. So he has to time it exceptionally well to protect this Ezreal and Malzahar, who admittedly have their own forms of protection, the Spell Shield on Malzahar and the Arcane Shift for the Ezreal. But still, just one mistake, one slip up, and the Ezreal and Malzahar are likely dead. There's a lot of damage, a lot of dive for Pengies. And
Yeah. I do want to say, a lot of the Poppy changes that have come through in the patches over the course of like the last year have been seeking to find ways to correct the steadfast presence problem. Now it has that grounding effect, where after you manage to stop a dash, they can do no other mobility abilities for quite a while. It can catch a lot of people off guard. A lot of people don't realize that once they get stuck out of their dash by the Poppy, they also aren't going to be able to flash out for a while. It's definitely something to watch out for, especially if any of the players on the side of Baby Pengies are not especially used to playing against Poppy. Additionally, and it's always been like this, but I think still worth addressing, Steadfast Presence is incredibly forgiving with what it lets you interrupt. Like, the dash, it feels like the dash can be over for so long, and you can press W, and it's still going to bonk people and ground them.
yeah, absolutely. And I am excited because we have two roaming supports, and not a lot of options for plays in lane. Vayne and Ezreal both very slippery in their own rights. The Vayne can just condemn the Pantheon out of the shield vault, and so I expect a lot of roaming from the Alistar and Pantheon. Maybe even like an early roam to contest Herald. Who knows? I expect them to get creative. Gonna expect the Hex Flash from Kanina on the Alistar. And then from there, I think the lanes to focus are the Camille. Pengies want the Camille ahead. The Vayne has inevitability, will scale up. Ezreal not touted for his lane pressure. He's not going to pressure the Vayne too hard, especially if both supports are roaming. So free lane to scale. And then Diana, I think, using the Alistar to unlock Diana, to let her roam around the map, get the Herald, dive the Poppy, all that.
I'm a little concerned for the Vayne and the Pantheon matchup. If it is going to be this Pantheon support coming out, and it looks like it will be, his Blood King is locked in this Poppy.
What has you concerned, Gordo?
Just that if you're able to W and lock down the Vayne, you can guarantee the WQ combo from the Ezreal, which is probably going to be a decent source of poke. Is going to be something that can kind of pressure the Vayne out of lane, and also just not going to be, I would assume, a huge amount of opportunities. We can see if the 80 carry over for the side of Baby Pengies is able to kind of do some of the fancier moves, if he's able to reactively knock the Pantheon out of the stun, that's going to go a long way here. But I'm not 100% sure, especially given some of the spell shield shenanigans we saw last game, that we're going to be able to count on that 100%.
You're right. It remains to be seen if the Vayne can correctly condemn, but there's So the thing is, you can buffer condemn, right? Like you can so you can select a target out of range, and so if you smell the Pantheon looking for a flash stun, just buffer the E, and the instant the Pantheon flashes in range, condemn, and either he goes for the stun immediately and you condemn, so he doesn't get it, or he flashes and he gets condemned out of range and he can't do it anymore. It's the same thing with Alistar. You buffer the condemn when you anticipate the headbutt, and it just shuts down any attempt of an initiation from the Pantheon or Alistar. We'll see if Sniff My Dipper. Okay, that's a weird name. I'm not gonna say that again. But we'll see if he can do that. um, but once again I like Pengies comp more. I think their comp has a clearer identity. The Vayne is significantly more difficult to punish. For Syndicate, they don't have great tools to force the Vayne into the open. Best tool they have is the Explosive Cask, and I don't anticipate that Volibear, Alistar, Camille will let the Gragas get a good cask off on the Vayne.
So. Yeah, I'm feeling really similarly to how I felt last game about Omega Gaming's comp. I feel like a lot of Gragas comps end up making me feel this way, but it feels like it's so centered around the disengage, but I question how it's actually going to be able to function if we end up in situations like we did last game where targets are face checking into each other, and then we're going to have these extended skirmishes where it's almost like 1 3 versus 2 and another 3 versus 2 over on opposite ends of the fight. Just feels like it's going to be very hard to execute like the perfect game plan where Poppy's grounding people and interrupting abilities, and Gragas is either peeling or getting an engage off. All the champions are going to be doing different things. So I'm curious how we're going to see Omega Gaming play out these fights.
I absolutely agree. I think the Pantheon feels really out of place in this comp because Pantheon has CC, he has utility, but it's targeted utility, it's telegraphed utility, which means Pantheon will never be able to stop Alistar from getting an engage. Either the Pantheon is in a position where he can get the stun, but if he is, that means he's overextended, he's exposed and he's isolated, which means Alistar just gets to pulverize him and kill him with his team. Or he's playing around his carries, and the Alistar gets the headbutt pulverize anyway, and then the Pantheon's just useless. So I think it centers a lot around how Rutinium uses the Pantheon in the early game, moving around the map to create pressure, because if not, the Alistar just hard outscales the Pantheon throughout the game. I
agree. I do think there's some burden of execution on the side of Baby Pengies for that, but as we talked about, they're going to have to wait and see how both teams are going to be able to execute these comps, going to be able to run them into each other. We are now finishing off the spectator delay here, so we are going to take a quick break while we load up into the game, get everything all synchronized, so none of us are speaking from the future. So stay tuned. We will be right back. Hello, everybody. Sorry about the delay there, but we are now into game 2 of Omega Gaming Syndicate versus Baby Pengies. Baby Pengies able to take out game 1. Now we've gotten the second draft done, loaded up into game 2. I am Gordo, joined once again by Smalcrum. Smalcrum, nothing unusual in this level 1.
Oh, they don't get the word. That's I don't know if that's unusual or just unfortunate. Um, Feels bad that they don't get the ward. So a little bit of early vision for the side of Syndicate. And again, mirrored paths. We see. Oh, looks like Korgmor was kind enough to ping out his early pathing. So let's see if he sticks to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be starting out on the bot side for both of these champions. Blood King getting the first Q off onto King of Apes. King of Apes gonna be chasing him with that hook shot. Not quite getting the CC though.
So I'm not a fan of the hookshot start in this lane. Well, one, he whiffed it, and two, I think the tactical sweep is so powerful in this kind of lane, where you can take the trade level 1, you get the shield from adaptive defenses like that.
Now, once again, King of Apes going to be trading in here onto Blood King, but might not be in the most favorable position here, is once again going to be getting another Grasp proc off onto his opponent here, going to be picking up that shield, might land another Q, not going to get that onto Camille, but some favorable trades for Blood King early on in this lane.
Yeah, and with the health bar so low, I expect both junglers to path up to this lane. Fallen taking an interesting path. He went blue, wolves, raptors, red. So choosing to omit the Gromp, which is a staple early clear for junglers. So Volibear first into river.
Yeah, might be a health-based decision. Gragas does take quite a bit to clear out that Gromp, as he's mostly an AoE clearer, but Blood King getting engaged here on by Korgmor, just going to have to walk that one out.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. Fallen is now in the vicinity, so can shadow his Poppy, but instead pings, he wants the Krugs, he wants to eat some pebbles.
Yeah, but he knows he has to be up here, as Korgmor coming right on in here. That's going to be the dash through from Blood
dead.
King to try to stay alive. Now going to have to flash away, going to be met with a flash from King of Apes, as First Blood picked up for Korgmor and the side of Baby Pengies.
Oh, look at this roam.
Good engage here onto Intexi. An early early roam, rather, from Kanina, going to force out Intexi's flash.
Yeah, that was great. So Vayne was able to get a cheater recall off, and Pantheon was stuck in lane, and so Kanina gets the first roam.
Watch out here, as Rutinium has wandered on up, going to get the collapse here onto Kanina, going to get that CC down there, now coming through with the E from Malzahar, the Malefic Vision's coming through, dealing ticking damage, but going to just flash out there, as Kanina going to retreat back into his own lane.
And that's really big that Rutinium moves up to burn the flash from Kanina, because, well, if the cow has flash, he gets to just flash engage on Intexi next time around, and Malzahar is just dead.
Yeah, still definitely a risk, though, of
Oh,
something
no.
Korgmor could do to
Look at
Intexi,
bot lane.
as we're going to see a fight in bot lane. Rutinium getting knocked back into the opposing team, but now doesn't have the ability to get away, going to be stunned up by the Vayne and picked up by Korgmor there. 2 for 0 for the side of Baby Pengies, having a very successful early game here in the side lanes.
Yeah, Korgmor playing this early game very, very well. He figures out where he needs...
Some aggressive trading here. King of Apes is level 4 while Blood King is stuck at level 3. Going to be getting the second Q through here. That Precision Protocol dealing a lot of damage, but now is locked in by Blood King. Cannot E away because the Steadfast Presence comes down a little bit too early. Now going to be getting the sweep across onto Blood King. Takes him incredibly low. Both targets just going to back away from each other here. We might see, somebody might go for some kind of engage here. No flash available for either party. Blood King very aware of the hook shot potential here. We're going to be waiting for that Steadfast Presence to come back up. Might have blown it a little early in that one-on-one.
Yeah, so far it seems like Blood King not really comfortable with timing the Steadfast Presence, and it's cost him a lot. He died to First Blood. I think if he got the Steadfast Presence off, he lives there, because the hookshot gets stuffed and he can walk out. But, yeah,
Hookshot is an ability you can reactively Steadfast Presence to. You can press the W button once you see the hook come out. So definitely going to be a criticism there to be levied at Blood King, as need to be pulling that off here if this is actually going to be the kind of counter matchup you want the Poppy into Camille to be.
Yeah, and it also speaks to it's concerning because not only can he not do it against Camille, but what does that say about his ability to do it to protect Ezreal and Malzahar? What if he can't Steadfast Presence the Alistar or the...
Yeah, the hook shot is way slower than something like an Alistar headbutt or a Diana dash is going to be, or a Lunar Rush, rather. So, definitely agree there. It's got to be something that he's going to have to shape up very quickly if he wants to be successful on this pick.
Absolutely. And we see Korgmore just playing heavily around this bot side. He wants to give space to the Vayne, and also coincidentally, this means he can play around Drake as well. Malzahar not.
Oh, now going to be a big engage, but actually the Malzahar passive actually blocking out the Moonfall from Diana, keeping Intexi alive there despite the lack of flash and the level disadvantage.
It's unfortunate that the Moonfall was stuffed like that, but they still get Drake because Fallen has shown top to make sure this wave crashes, and there is no trade of the Herald, which will not spawn for another minute and a half.
Yeah, going to be settling for just the Scuttle Crab up here. As you said, Korgmore going to be starting up this Dragon, likely going to pick up that Ocean Drake. There it goes for his side.
Yeah, and right now it looks to me that Fallen is a bit lost. He doesn't know where he has to be, what he wants to do, and I wonder how much of that is due to the confusing, conflicted nature of Syndicate's comp. They want to go in, they don't want to go in because they have Malzahar. It's very I'm confused looking at their comp, and perhaps Fallen is as well. He doesn't know what to play around because Ezreal doesn't have a lot of power. It's not like Pantheon can initiate bot side because of the Alistar and the Vayne. So what does he play around it? Does he just Shadow and Taxi?
Twisty here getting engaged on. Korgmore going to be dashing towards him, but just going to Arcane Shift out of the way, firing back some bolts as he does so.
Yeah, and so I think Fallen not too sure what he wants to do. If I were him, I'd just power farm and look to shadow lanes as needed. He's been doing the shadowing part and the facilitating part, helping crash waves, but I think he could have more of a CS lead than he does right now. Because the Volibear has pretty easy setup in his lanes.
Certainly, he is lurking in bot lane here, might be trying to sneak into the alcove here to try to make a play happen. A good opportunity for that if he wants to go for it. But his wolves are up, so he's just going to go do those.
I think he was hovering just to make sure the wave crashed, and this wave will now come.
Unfortunately, Korgmore, though, is come in as Fallen Artemis has backed on off here, so might be looking for this, but he's going to back off as well. Twisty and Rutinium keeping their distance.
Yeah, and once again, we saw a misused Steadfast Presence from Blood King, but King of Apes just using the power of Camille with Grasp and the tactical sweep to pressure Blood King in this lane.
Yeah, has over a 20 CS lead now, is getting significantly ahead in this matchup, as now there's going to be a flash follow-up from Intexi as a Fallen Artemis coming through here, going to be flashing away the explosive cask. Saruman manages to stay alive. King of Apes completes the teleport to mid lane, almost getting interrupt there was Blood King, but not quite being able to do so. Might actually prefer that teleport went through, though, as now he can just farm up in this top lane all on his own, and King of Apes wasn't really able to make anything happen.
Yeah. So a bit of a reprieve for Blood King, and I'm not too sure, Gordo, about this Diana Malzahar lane, because whenever the camera's panned to mid lane, it's just Diana throwing the Q out and breaking the spell shield. That's been the tail every time. So I'm not exactly sure what the Malzahar brings to the table here.
Yeah, hopefully later in the game you can stuff engages that way, but in the laning phase, not quite being able to get what they want here. That was their big all-in with the Gragas ultimate paired with the Flash Malzahar ultimate, and they were not able to close it out there, just kind of trading flash for flash there.
Yeah, and we can see here, this is what I was talking about in Champ Select and Draft, bringing Kanina up to secure the Herald. They're doing that, and meanwhile, Rutinium has done good Steadfast Presence there. Rutinium hasn't done much on the Pantheon. He hasn't shown me why he hasn't shown the things that make Pantheon such a powerful support. The roaming, just the raw damage. Pantheon's a support that can solo an opposing member, but we haven't seen Rutinium go for any aggression.
The Grand Starfall is not quite available yet. Will be available soon. Maybe Rutinium can make some plays happen there, but absolutely, he's been stuck in that bot lane, and he hasn't even really managed to work out a CS lead for his AD carry as a result of it. Now there's going to be a dive coming into the mid lane onto Intexi as Volibear looking to do as much damage as he can, but actually Korgmore going to get chunked down so low by that turret plus the Malefic Visions and just going to get picked up by Rutinium on one of those roams we just talked about. Blood King here taking up as much damage as he can, and they're going to take down the Rift Herald, lose no members, take up the opposing jungler, and return to their farming. Well played, Omega Gaming Syndicate.
Yeah, that was good. The shutdown went to Pantheon, which is okay. if you're giving the shutdown to a support, I think Pantheon's one of the better supports to receive that influx of gold.
Oh,
Twisted.
and here's an engage from Kanina, going to be using the headbutt to get closer to Twisty, following up with the pulverize, now getting the stun down. Here comes the ignite onto the opposing target, and now it's going to be an easy pickup for the Vayne as Rutinium now finds himself in a 1v2. He's got his jungler coming in for backup, but he's still a couple of seconds out. Rutinium trading as much as he can, trying to get as much damage as he can onto the opposing Vayne, but he's just flashed away now as they're chasing out. And Rutinium going to be looking to pick up this execute here, and they do so. Second kill over to the Vayne, a 2-for-0 trade in favor of Baby Pengies in the bot
lane. So, really, really good for Pengies. They're getting the Vayne ahead 2-0-1, looking to complete the cull pretty soon. And really unfortunate timing, because I was just going to mention that one of the best windows that Syndicate have to take control of this game is the mid game, where the Ezreal is spiking on 2 items, has the completed Muramana and the Sheen item, but the Vayne getting 2 kills will slow that down and really...
Ooh, now going to be another hook shot coming through, gets denied by the Steadfast Presence. Doesn't actually decide to follow through on that King of Apes because he realizes that he would just be bonking himself.
Yeah. So, Blood King is using the Steadfast Presence better as the game progresses. The Steadfast Presence alone isn't going to win the game, though. It's just a very small, minor thing. And... oh, look, Rutinium's on the map. Hey, Rutinium. How you doing?
Yeah, coming on up into this top side. Might be looking out for some ultimates here, but this is as the dragon has spawned.
Yeah.
The Rift Herald is still down, so it means that it might be the second dragon of the game going over to the Baby Pengies side as they're setting up for this dive in the top lane. Ezreal all coming through, seeing the targets on Baron. This means this is their opportunity.
Oh, good.
They interrupt with the Steadfast Presence. They come up with the Pantheon ultimate, and Rutinium going to be able to pick up that kill. That is a 1-for-0 over for the side of Omega Gaming Syndicate, successfully diving the top lane and now looking to pressure onto the turret.
Okay, Rutinium sitting with all the kills for Syndicate. I don't know if... I feel like it's a little too late for the Pantheon to get rolling right now. He has the Umbral Glaive, so he does a lot of damage, but Vayne's scaling up pretty well. And has 1,000 gold over Twisty, so...
yeah, it feels like that kill might have rather gone on a Fallen Artemis, but now Twisty getting engaged on yet again, going to be the Volibear ultimate coming through the Thundering Blow to shut him down, and a quick pickup here, and now a failed teleport. Intexi coming into the back to try to save his teammate, but now finding himself in a 1v3. He's going to be picked up here. They're going to try to donate the kill over to the Vayne, and they will do so as another 2-for-0 occurs for the side of Baby Pengies. They are taking a firm lead in this game, too, and looking to bring this series up to 2-0.
Yeah, and I think the big difference... between these two supports is that when Kanina roams, Vayne is not punishable. There's no opportunity for the Vayne to get punished. Meanwhile, when Rutinium roams, you see Twisty's been forced to flash, or he's required help from his team to bail himself out. Like, he got the TP from Intexi there, and Intexi died for Twisty's sins. And I think right now it's a pretty big support diff. I think Rutinium is very much behind the curve when it comes to roams, and
King of Apes getting stunned up here by Blood King. Just going to be a little bit of trading back and forth.
Okay, turret plates have gone down, but pretty significant gold lead right now for Pengies, and they do outscale. I feel very confident in saying that. They have the Vayne, and Syndicate don't have great tools for fighting on their terms. So the Vayne will be allowed to free fire pretty much at all stages of the game. And look at this, Rutinium and Intexi linking up. They're going into the enemy red side, but they're going to run into this ward, and I don't think the Vayne is punishable in this position with the Alistar running interference.
It's going to be backing away here, as once they find the ward, they know they've been spotted, and it feels like this play might be a little bit scuffed, not quite able to get it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as I'm seeing really quick, while we have a couple seconds break, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the LHG stream rating in with 22 viewers. And of course, right as I start doing that, Blood King getting engaged on in the top lane, is Korgmore going to be coming up with the Thundering Blow, going for this gank, and the ultimate coming down from Camille, trying to donate this kill, and they will do so. King of Apes picking up a kill on a Blood King.
Gordo, I'm going to be honest, I don't see a way back in for Syndicate at this point.
Oh, well, they do, as they're going to be engaging right on to Fallen Artemis here, as trying to pick up yet another kill, trying to snowball this game quite out of control, as Intexi going to come up here, going to be landing that ultimate, canceling it early as Fallen Artemis throws in the explosive cask, a flash over, following Fallen Artemis into his own golems, going to be picking up a kill here for the side of Saruman. just complete dominant performance of Baby Pengies in Game 2. This Game 1 was incredibly close, but now Baby Pengies coming online, dominating across this map.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to the drafts, and Pengies have a very clear-cut comp. They have these very simple engage tools. They have the Volley Bear Alistar. They have a diver in Diana to threaten the Ezreal and the Malzahar, and then they have the late game scaling and the hyper carry in the Vayne, and then they have the side laner in Camille. So their comp makes much more sense stylistically, and so it's much easier to execute when you have a clear idea of how you want to play out the game. And we saw that. We can see that in how Kanina's moved around the map. He moved up to help secure the first Herald and did the same with the second. And they're using the pressure that the Diana creates to get the early Drakes. And so, meanwhile, Syndicate, Fallen doesn't really know what he wants to do. He's been farming, doesn't have a significant CS lead. He managed to get a good kill with Rutinium topside, but that's about it. So far, the casks haven't been that impressive, and I don't think that's necessarily the fault of Fallen. I just think their comp just doesn't do much right now, or ever. I don't see what their comp does.
The disengage focus that we were talking about in Champion Select just does not really appear to be working against Korgmore, especially as he's just started to snowball ahead. He's been a part of 6 out of 8 kills, and he's been able to consistently be getting ganks off in, I think he's ganked every lane successfully so far this game.
Yeah, he has. And Rutinium and Fallen are hovering mid lane for Intexi, but...
Oh, and that's going to be the Nether Grasp coming in on Disarmament, but just does no damage and has no follow-up. And now Kanina, looking for the engage here, an excellent cast from Fallen Artemis, going to interrupt the headbutt, but that's just consolation at this point, as they've just botched another engage in the mid lane.
Yeah, another big tool in the Malzahar ultimate expended.
King of Apes and Blood King duking it out here, getting the hook shot off to try to trade back. Just going to be it here. Here comes the Pantheon ultimate, but it's too late, as King of Apes has already backed away, still has access to the flash. Mega Gaming Syndicate just not able to make anything happen here, as once again Baby Pengies with the opposing team topside coming in to take the dragon, now making it 3-0, bringing themselves to Soul Point.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else I can say, Gordo. It's Pengies are in complete control of this game. They're popping down another Herald. No tower taken down yet.
Tinium once again in the top lane. This appears to be the only plan of action they really have at this point, is just keep ganking King of Apes along with Blood King here. But once again, it appears to be going incorrectly, as King of Apes just going to take down Rutinium, then get knocked away by Blood King, just trying to keep himself alive. It's a 1-for-0 in favor of Baby Pengies off of a play that Omega Gaming Syndicate started, as Baby Pengies now are pushing down in this bot lane with this Rift Herald. They're threatening a dive onto the Ezreal, as they have 3 members versus Omega Gaming's 2. Both parties just going to back out here as the Rift Herald goes down. Intexi coming down off the roam. They might go for an engage here on a Korgmore, going to nicely buffer the Alistar E. And now it's going to be an engage onto the side of Gragas. He's going to go down. Fallen Artemis has already been blown up as double teleports are coming through. But it looks like Blood King is going to be teleporting a bit deeper in than he wants to, going in for an engage here onto Saruman, going to CC him down, but now going to be CC'd up in turn with the Thundering Blow from the Volibear. Intexi now pushing forward, looking for an ulti target. Was able to use it, but might have gotten it interrupted there, as another teleport is coming through. This time it is King of Apes coming through, looking to try to get an engage off. Not quite going to be able to do so. Both parties backing off. It might just be a 1-for-0 in the favor of Baby Pengies.
That was way, way closer than I thought it would be. And Vayne critically had to burn Flash. So there's a small sliver of hope here for Syndicate, if they can somehow get access to the Vayne. But I doubt it. They burned the Rutinium Flash. They don't have a great... The best tool they have to get on the Vayne right now is Fallen with Body Slam Flash, but that can be condemned. You can stop that. So, and I think the reason that fight was close was because Pengies forced really hard. They burned the Alistar Flash to get the 2-man Pulverize. They dove the tower without the Volibear ult to turn it off. And that's why it was close. But I don't think the next fight will be close if it's taken out in the open. I think Syndicate will lose it decisively.
Yeah, I believe Intexi channeled the ultimate over onto the Vayne in the last fight. It got QSS'd onto, I believe, is why we didn't get to see a very long Nether Grasp in the last fight. But the ineffectuality of this Malzahar has been a pretty major factor in this game, I would say. You know, Omega Gaming's been losing across the map, but the Malzahar in particular just have not been able to get the plays going off of it. They've tried the Flash Nether Grasps, they've tried these engages, and they just have not been able to make it. They've tried to disengage and use the Malzahar as opposing carries are coming in, and they aren't able to do that either. That's going to be a flash hook shot from the side of King of Apes, looking to solo out Twisty here, and you got to believe he's going to be able to do it as he picks up a killing spree. Now the teleport in from Malzahar going to be met with the Nether Grasp, going to be getting that shutdown. well traded by the side of Intexi, but what else can they do with it across the map? Going to be 2 CC abilities coming down onto Kanina, but he is so tanky here, and now Blood King just getting knocked back into the river versus this Vayne who can just melt through him as they pick up another kill for the side of Baby Pengies. It is now a 4v5 on the map as Korgmore wants more. He's ulting in onto the opposing Rutinium, trying to get as much damage onto him as he can, and Vayne is coming through to pick up the kill easily, going to QSS out of the Pantheon stun, going to move on to this turret. Baby Pengies continues to take advantages across this map. They are now 13-3 and 7k gold.
And I think that if the Vayne had Guinsoo's, we see Baron taken here. But Vayne doesn't, so they content themselves with the tier 1 top and aggression into the red side jungle of Syndicate. And Intexi teleporting bot to trade 1-for-1 with the Camille is just indicative of how behind the play Syndicate have been this entire game. Rutinium and now Intexi have been playing the opposite side of the map where the objective has been. Rutinium ulting top lane when Drake is up, seeding the Drake, and then right there, Intexi forced to TP bot lane with Baron up. So
and it's the perfect time for you to bring that up, Smalkram, because we are about a minute away from the Earth Drake spawning yet again.
Oh, it's another Mountain Soul.
Yeah, and like you said, Baby Pengies already has gotten the first 3 dragons as Mega Gaming Syndicate failed to prioritize them, failed to get the early positioning, whatever you want to blame it on. But the fact is they're down 3-0, and this might be soul for the Baby Pengies if they can't make something happen. They're trying to now, as they're getting as much CC possible onto King of Apes. He's going to use the ultimate, but he's stuck in a 1v5, and he's going to be picked up by Blood King. This is going to be a 4v5 over this dragon. Good opportunity for a Mega Gaming Syndicate to potentially find a way back into this game.
See, they choose not to get deep vision because they have to defend the tier 2. Diana's coming in a little late.
Here. They are going to be going for an ignite here. They're going to go for the all-in as the Pantheon ultimate comes through, and a huge 3-man knockback going to come in from the Gragas, but now he's stuck in a 1v1 with the Vayne. Fallen Artemis just getting soloed out here by the Vayne on the side of Baby Pengies. Baby Pengies now engaging even further. A double kill goes to the Vayne. This is likely going to be a triple kill on a Blood King. It actually gets picked up for Saruman for a second double kill. It is a 4-for-0 in the fight, even 4v5. They're now going to likely pick up the Soul, maybe even the Baron off of this, as Baby Pengies has re-solidified their dominance in this game.
Yeah, and I think that might spell the end of Syndicate in this game too. So many things going wrong for Syndicate in that fight. You saw the Malzahar ult channeled on the Alistar, not the target you want. The Cask was okay, but the Vayne got displaced from the rest of Syndicate. There's no follow-up remaining, so the Vayne gets out scot-free, and the fight's just over. And yeah, Syndicate were unable to manufacture a single good fight, and I think that's just because their comp just doesn't work. And also, Pengies have played this entire game exceptionally well. They controlled it from the first gank topside, getting the kill on Blood King, all the way to the Baron at 24 minutes.
Yeah, and they're going to pick up Baron and the Dragon Soul simultaneously there, waiting on 6 minutes, both for the Baron respawn and the Elder Drake spawn. An excellent position for the side of Baby Pengies to be in. They've now claimed that Mountain Soul. They're going to have access to that for the rest of the game, and with a 10k gold lead on top of it, it's pretty much all over but the screaming at this point, as Mega Gaming probably want to start turning their thoughts towards Game 3.
Yeah, that's what I'd be thinking about at this point, Gordo, because with the Alistar, with the Volibear, and the Camille and the Diana, you can dive with impunity. And the Vayne, with 2 items, will just chew through everyone on the side of Syndicate.
Yeah, now
Oh,
going
man.
to be getting a 2-man engage over onto the opposing bot lane, going to be a stun onto Rutinium as Korgmore going in, trying to get an engage onto Twisty. Rutinium and Twisty both taken so low here as the Volibear is just looking to solo them both out, going to get one target there as the Vayne has moved on to Fallen Artemis and is going to take him out as well. Intexi has shown up to back up his teammates, but it's too late. 2 are already down. It is a 5v3 on the map with Baron as they're pushing through this mid lane and are going to try to crack open the base.
Yeah, and you see Camille splitting aggressively on the bot side of the map will break that tier 3 bot tower and get the inhibitor. So this is a really effective 1-3-1 for Pengies, and there's really nothing that Syndicate can do to contest. They lost Ezreal, they lost Gragas. They just, no initiation, no wave clear.
That's all the damage they have.
Yeah, and they have no wave clear. They can't do anything. The Malzahar could wave clear against regular minions, but no chance against these empowered creeps.
Yeah, no, just could not get the resets there on the Malefic Visions, and so is going to be losing the mid inhibitor turret, very possibly the mid inhibitor, but more members of Omega Gaming have respawned. They're grouping up in the bot lane as the second inhibitor turret going to fall. Kanina going for an engage here onto Fallen Artemis, followed up with by the ultimate from the Camille, as Vayne has picked up one kill already onto Blood King, going to be looking to completely pop up this fight, going to get a second kill over onto Rutinium, and now there's only 3 members left for Omega Gaming. They have to fall back to the Nexus, but Fallen Artemis has been caught out by the Diana. Suraman has picked up a kill for himself, and now Vayne moving up, trying to do as much as he can. Twisty going to be easily soloed out here, as only Intexi is left. He hasn't been able to make the difference so far this game, and he's not going to be able to make it 1v4, as it looks like Baby Pengies is going to take game 2, and is going to bring this series to match point.
Yeah, and a very, very convincing win. The first game, sub 30 minutes, but pretty back and forth. This game, convincing sub 27-minute victory for the Pengies. And I think Syndicate has to go back to the drawing board because they have no answers. I think they could have won game 1, but a couple blunders and team fights in the mid to late game cost them. This game, they're drafted nothing. They couldn't do anything in this game, and they conceded every single objective under the sun, and they just lose. They were unable to find a favorable fight at all.
Completely agree there, Simulcrum, and we can see now that we're in uncharted territory for the LHGPL thus far this year, this split at least, because the tournament has been best of 3 thus far, but now we are in best of 5 territory. Usually, if you go down 0-2, series is already over, but now there's going to be a third game opportunity. This is longer than these players usually play against each other. This is more games than they're used to, so we're going to have to see how do both adapt with, you know, more games played in the same night, more evidence, more testing out of various strategies that they want to try.
Absolutely. And I think a lot can be, I think the buffer the best of 5 provides can be really valuable, right? You can have a close couple of games, and the team that's supposedly on the back foot can have figured out their opposition and then answer in the coming drafts. But I think with how convincing Pengies won that second game, Syndicate's backs are against the wall right now. They have to come up with an answer in game 3, and it's over for them. Maybe if game 2 was a little bit of a closer affair, that Syndicate could be a little more comfortable going into game 3, but not with the bloodbath that game 2 was. Not a chance.
Yeah, I think at this point, the side of Omega Gaming really might want to take another look at this jungle matchup. They've played the Gragas and Volibear both games so far, and it's pretty clear that the side of Baby Pengies has been prioritizing getting a jungle matchup like this quite a bit. They've been banning out 3 of Fallen Artemis' junglers both games thus far. They've been early picking the Vladimir against the early pick Gragas from the side of Omega Gaming Syndicate, and it just does not seem to be the winning strategy here. While, you know, while Fallen Artemis may be able to get the farm advantage in the 1v1, he's not been more successful in creating ganks, and he hasn't been able to produce the wins for his team.
Completely agree. I'd like to see him go to something like the Olaf, something that he's played before, that he's confident and comfortable on. And because if he's not going to go for this ganking style, he should go for a power farming, neutral objective style, and Olaf does that exceptionally well. There's not many junglers that can go toe-to-toe with him. And fortunately, the ones that can, Pengies are banning out. They're banning out the Kindred. They're banning out the Graves, champs that do well into Olaf. So I like to see him go to that in Game 3.
All right, well, we will see what they decide to go with in Game 3 when we return. We're going to take a quick break while both of these teams get back into Champions Select, take a couple minutes to rest and recharge to continue on in this series. But don't go anywhere. We've got somewhere between 1 and 3 games left to play.